Okay, here we go with the G-Rack GNAS OS demo. When you get your G-Rack out of the box, every G-Rack comes with a static IP. So that's essentially an IP number that you can pop into a web browser, and that's going to bring up the admin login screen. We do this for simplicity. The idea is that out of the box, there's one 10 gig E port on the motherboard is set up as DHCP, and the other one's set up as static.
Yep.
And we give you a postcard with that static number, and every unit has that same static number. You, of course, can change it, but the idea is to get you up and running quickly. Take that number, plug it into a web browser. This is the screen that you'll see. And then every unit has the same admin and password, and of course you can change that as well. So I'm just going to log in as admin.
Please change it.
And password GTech, and that's all I'll need to kind of kick off the OS. So since this is a fresh box, I reset the box back to its factory settings so you can see kind of what that out-of-box experience looks like today. It has the end user license agreement that pops up, and I'm just going to go ahead and agree to that. And what happens next is it jumps in and launches a wizard. And the purpose of this wizard is essentially to take us through a quick setup process. So I'll just click on a theme, and the general theme creates a big bit bucket. The media entertainment theme creates a bucket with a bunch of folders and subfolders for organizing media. But for today's demo, let's just do general. It'll be a little faster. And then for web admin settings, this is where I can go ahead and change that password right away, because we probably wanted to change that password. And then what we can do is also answer a couple questions and answers on password recovery. This actually does help our team kind of with you later if you actually do lose it.
Perfect.
The next screen we'll see is email notifications. So everything inside the G-Rack, if something were to go wrong or you're reaching capacity on the system, a fan is maybe not blowing as hard as it can, or a temperature sensor's gone off, this is where you would set up email notifications. We can take one email, or we can actually take 2 emails later on. We can dive into the settings and show you where that is. And then just to kick us off, we are going to have to create a user account. So can't really log into this product if we don't actually create a user. So I'm going to create one for Gary really quick.
Cool.
And then I'll make your password GTech as well, so we'll remember that later. And I'll go ahead and add one for myself as well, just so you can see how easy it is to set up users. This product also does support Active Directory, so if you do work in a facility that has, say, dozens of users, or users who you want to make sure are updating their passwords every number of days, this can be tied into an Active Directory, and we'll continue to pull that AD server and take these into the G-Rack. So we'll go ahead and hit continue here, and the next screen is going to basically tell us these are the connectivity types that are going to be set up for that G-Rack. We're going to set it up as FTP, NFS, SMB, and AFP. In the wizard, that's what we provide, but later on we can add some others if we wish. We'll hit continue. And then this is just a quick build script. It's telling us we're going to make a big bit bucket called general. We have our notifications currently disabled, and we have 2 users. And I'll go ahead and click on Create Workspaces. And what this will do in the period, this is all live, so we're not going to cut into anything. This will probably take about, I'd say, 30 seconds or so, and this is essentially setting up this system. It'll do it as a default as a RAID 6, and then once the OS dashboard pops up, this will be up and ready to use. Now, if you're more of a pro user and you know what you're doing around network attached storage devices, you could have skipped this wizard and you could have gone directly to the dashboard and set up the product. And so what the wizard is doing is it's taking this G-Rack and assigning it a RAID 6 across all 12 drives. And then it's basically taking a large bit bucket, making just one big workspace with all the usable storage, and creating these 2 users. If we would have skipped out of the wizard, I could have done something like a RAID 5 instead of that RAID 6. Or I can even have done something like make a RAID 5 over 11 drives and kept the 12th drive as a hot spare. So there's a lot of customization that can be done.
Yep.
And so you can certainly do that after the wizard. In fact, I recommend everyone try that wizard with a fresh unit when they have it, and then just go ahead and reset it back to factory settings and then tweak it out some more. So those are some of the neat things you can do. On the connectivity protocols, some of the protocols that weren't included here, NFS is also supported, and we can turn that on, as well as rsync. So we fully support rsync services as a connectivity as well. So as I was speaking there, the build script completed, and the G-Rack is actually up and ready to be connected to. So what we see here is the dashboard. The dashboard is essentially a quick one-screen view, making sure everything's okay. And what we want to see is a sea of green lights telling us everything's running as it should. If anything was compromised, we would then see things like an orange or yellow light telling us that essentially there's a drive degraded, there's something that needs attention. But for the most part, what you're looking at is just a sea of green. And here's where we would see our RAID system. So we only created that one RAID, but you certainly can create multiple RAIDs on a device. And then what you can do is you can quickly jump to any section just by clicking on an area. So notice here we have an area called the Workspaces, and that's that big general workspace. That's the one big workspace that was created for Gary and I to share. But let's say we want to create something new. We just add a new workspace. I'm going to call this one Project 1. That's just going to give Gary and I a place to work on our new film together that we've been talking about. So that it's as simple as that. You literally just create a workspace, hit save, and then some of the neat things you can now do with this workspace is we can now add users to it, we can add permissions, we can be very specific about the connection protocols. So with the GRAC, I can make a workspace that only connects via FTP if I wish, and then another workspace that only connects via AFP. So you can actually change your connectivity types per workspace. So that's kind of a nice thing to do. And then once it's actually up and loaded as this workspace is, I can go ahead and adjust permissions. And so you'll see that in my permissions pane, I have the ability to give permissions to Gary and myself.
Video Guys is available Monday to Friday. Give us a call, 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter to stay connected with all our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.